Captured slaves were ordered to move by the natives who pointed ahead. The slaves, initially believing it was a joke, became confused when the natives yelled, urging them to move. They were shocked when they turned around. The natives armed themselves with bows and arrows, ready to kill. The two could only hurry and run forward. Just then, one native couldn't hold back and attacked first, but the arrow missed. None of the others hit their target. At that moment, a native with a throwing stick hurled it hard, and the stone arced through the air, hitting one of the slaves. The incident spared his life, and the other slave hurried away. Despite being struck by a spear, he and his companion weren't dead, prompting a native to move in for the final blow. Despite witnessing his companion's death, the man showed no fear as it was finally his turn. Under the native's command, the two charged forward swiftly but did not run in a straight line like earlier slaves. Instead, they ran back and forth, forcing the natives to predict their movements. Just as they thought, the natives exerted all their strength but still missed, yet they didn't stop. Javelins and stones rained down on them, but none even grazed them. A native recognized the tactic's failure and sought to identify a weakness. He succeeded unexpectedly. The man's companion fell under his sword. The native leader began to mimic the successful method. The strike hit the man directly, but wasn't fatal. The native at the finish line hurried over to finish him off. The man utilized the time gained from his companion's sacrifice to remove the arrowhead from his waist. The native's fixation on the big guy blinded him to the man's actions, leading to his predictable death at the slave's hands. His companions noticed him swaying and assumed he was drunk, only realizing something was wrong when he collapsed. The man on the ground got up as his aides hurried to him, discarding their weapons, and fortunately, all attacks missed him. He dragged his injured body into the cornfield, knowing the dead native was the chief's only son. Although the son could no longer speak, the chief knew he wanted revenge. Then this guy stormed into the cornfield in a fit of rage, and a hunting game began. The man, still fleeing, suddenly slipped and fell into a deep pit. Upon steadying himself, he was horrified to find the ground littered with corpses, the work of the natives. He quickly fled forward, avoiding deep thoughts. But the man knew he was injured and couldn't outrun them, so the best option was to hide and sneak away when they were far. The large tree ahead was perfect for hiding. He climbed quickly, but his wound reopened from running, and he avoided tending to it as the natives pursued him. He tried to be as quiet as possible while hiding in a tree, and although he believed he had escaped notice, a drop of blood fell onto the leaves and landed on a nearby native. Fortunately, they were in a hurry and overlooked it. As the man was about to relax, a small black panther suddenly appeared, loudly warning him that he had intruded on its territory. A loud roar erupted as the black panther's mother returned, believing the man was a poacher trying to capture her cub. The natives searched extensively but felt something was wrong. An injured person couldn't run that fast. They decided to turn back to check, but just then, one native noticed blood on his companion, so everyone immediately turned back to search. At that moment, the man was racing with the panther, making noise that attracted the nearby natives, who quickly stopped to observe and soon spotted the man. Everyone rushed to chase the man, unaware that a black panther was stalking him closely from behind. As they approached the man, they overlooked the beast hiding in the grass. At a fork in the path, the native inadvertently obstructed the black panther, becoming a scapegoat for the man. His friend hurried to help him. He drove the spear into the panther, but it was too late. They killed the panther, but the companion was exhausted. Seeing their deceased friend made everyone reconsider, sensing it was a bad omen. The black panther was seen as divine. The man regained his breath and distanced himself from enemies. After sprinting, his wound reopened, so he quickly bit and chewed a piece of bark while running. He quickly used it on his wound. The native chief chose to pursue despite potential consequences. They had to follow despite others' reluctance. The natives began to run, quickly noticing the man's shadow chasing them. The girl with double ponytails tried to warn her friends, but was suddenly bitten by a snake. The poison rushed to her brain, leaving her breathless and muttering that it was an ominous sign. Being bitten by that snake meant certain death. He had to helplessly give up on him, while the leader left one person to see him off. The companion urged him to sever his artery to die quickly and minimize pain. The twin ponytails character presented his token and cut his vein. The natives quickly found the injured man. The man, ignoring his wound, ran for his life. He couldn't escape the fit natives who closed in on him, forcing him to the edge of a river with a bottomless waterfall. Jumping or not jumping both lead to death. The man realized he had killed the native's son and feared torture if caught. Taking a risk is preferable. He leaped down confidently. The natives believed he would die from the high jump, but to their surprise, he was unscathed and taunted them. Despite their numbers, they failed to capture an injured man. The native leader, furious and ready to attack, was advised by his subordinates to avoid jumping down, suggesting a safer, longer route instead. The leader surprisingly acted on the dreadlocked man's suggestion, shocking the companions as he lunged with a knife. He was shocked that it could lead to death. This guy is ruthless enough to kill his own people. So how could he spare himself? After the earlier lesson, the remaining natives were too afraid to speak and followed the chief's orders to jump. The first one to jump directly crashed onto the rocks and died on the spot. The second one was carried away by the rushing river, avoiding rocks. Some were fortunate to be unharmed and safe. Realizing the danger, the man ran for his life but soon sank into the swamp. Meanwhile, some natives had already made it ashore. Fortunately, there was a vine nearby, and before he sank completely, he managed to grab it, but unexpectedly, it was so fragile that it snapped instantly. Despite thinking it was over, he emerged from the swamp, determined to swim out. A vulture pursued him before he could catch his breath. Hurrying into the forest after hearing a noise, he unexpectedly found a wasp nest, inspiring a bold idea. When the natives arrived, they saw him holding something up, and before they could react, the man tossed a wasp nest covered in leaves, unleashing a swarm that stung the natives, while he swiftly escaped the chaos. The man understood wasps alone wouldn't fix the issue with these people. He needed to devise a solid plan, as they would catch up eventually. He located poisonous plants in the forest, crafted darts by removing thorns from a tree, and coated them with frog poison. He waited for the enemy to fall into the trap as movement occurred nearby. He quickly fashioned a tube from leaves and shot poison darts at the approaching natives. When the first dart failed, he fired 2 more. Isolated from his companions, the man didn't attract attention, and soon the poison took effect. Using his last ounce of strength, he yelled out. A native in the back heard him and rushed back, colliding with the escaping man. Intense confrontation ensued. Although unarmed, the man noticed a weapon on the ground. The native also realized he wanted to grab it and knew he had to kill him before he could get the weapon. Thus, an intense life-and-death duel began. Both combatants rushed at each other with lethal intent, but the man was faster. He evaded the native's strike and seized a weapon from the ground before his opponent could react. He swung an axe, and while it didn't kill, the outcome was already decided. At that moment, it suddenly started to rain, a fortuitous opportunity, as he had hunted in this forest since childhood and set traps. If he could lure his enemy into one, he would win, starting with the native chief. Despite being accidentally shot by an arrow, the man was lucky it missed a vital area. Meanwhile, his opponent, armed with a dagger and seeking revenge, was rushing towards him. The arrogant man fell into a trap as 2 other natives arrived, disregarding their chief. They rushed quickly and determinedly straight in the direction that the man had fled, not having any idea how long they ran, until at last, the 3 of them stumbled upon the beautiful seaside. Several pirate ships were approaching the island, suggesting a more advanced level of civilization than theirs. The man hurriedly escaped into the woods, where endless colonial rule awaited him.